single statute that I thought, based on media reports, the special counsel might be considering. The memo did not address or in any other way question the special counsel's core investigation into Russian efforts to interfere in the election, nor did it address other potential obstruction of justice theories or argue that some have wrongly suggested that a president can never obstruct justice. I wrote it myself on my own initiative without any assistance and based solely on public information. I would like to comment very briefly on my priorities if confirmed as Attorney General. First, we must continue the progress we've made on violent crime, while at the same time recognizing the changes that have occurred since I last served as Attorney General. The recently passed First Step Act, which I intend to diligently implement if confirmed, recognizes the progress we have made over the past 3 decades in fighting violent crime. As Attorney General, I will ensure that we will continue our efforts to combat violent crime. In the past, I was focused on predatory violence, but today I am also concerned about another kind of violence. We can only survive and thrive as a nation if we are mutually tolerant of each other's differences, whether they be differences based on race, ethnicity, religion, sexual orientation, or political thinking. And yet we see some people violently attacking others simply because of their differences. We must have zero tolerance for such crimes, and I will make this a priority as Attorney General if confirmed. Next, the Department will continue to prioritize enforcing and improving our immigration laws. As a nation, we have the most liberal and expansive immigration laws in the world. Legal immigration has historically been a huge benefit to this country. However, as we open our front door and try to admit people in an orderly way, we cannot allow others to flout our legal system by crashing in through the back doors. In order to ensure that our immigration system works properly, we must secure our nation's borders, and we must ensure that our laws allow us to process, hold, and remove those who unlawfully enter. Finally, in a democracy like ours, the right to vote is paramount. In a period of great political division, one of the foundations of our nation is our enduring commitment to the peaceful transition of power through elections. If confirmed, I will ensure that the full might of our resources are brought to bear against foreign persons who unlawfully interfere in our elections. Fostering confidence in the outcome of elections also means ensuring that the right to vote is fully protected, as well as ensuring the integrity of elections. Let me conclude by making the point that over the long run, the course of justice in this country has more to do with the character of the Department of Justice as an enduring institution than with the tenure of any particular Attorney General. Above all else, if confirmed, I will work diligently to protect the professionalism and integrity of the department as an institution, and I will strive to leave it and the nation a stronger and better place. Thank you very much for your time today, and I look forward to answering your questions.
Thank you, Mr. Barr. We'll try to break around 11:30, I think, to get a quick bite and break up the day for you. But one thing I want to tell you is that I support the idea that politicians, no matter what party, should not interfere with criminal investigations. That makes eminent sense to me. Once you go down that road, then the rule of law collapses. But there's another side to this equation, if I may say a two-way street. What about those in charge of enforcing the law? What about those with the power to bring charges against American citizens, including people up here? I remember Senator Stevens' case in Alaska. So we should always be on guard about the politician interfering in an investigation, but we should also have oversight of how the department works and those with this tremendous power use that power. Are you familiar with the January 11th New York Times article about FBI open inquiry into whether Trump was secretly working on behalf of Russians.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Would you promise me and this committee to look into this and tell us whether or not, in the appropriate way, a counterintelligence investigation was opened up by somebody at the FBI/Department of Justice against President Trump?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I think there are a number of investigations, as I understand it, going on in the department.
Have you ever heard of such a thing in all the time you've been associated with the Department of Justice?
I have never heard of that.
Are there rules about how you can do counterintelligence investigations?
I believe there are, Mr. Chairman.
So if you want to open up one against the president, are there any checks and balances?
Not outside the FBI.
Okay, well, we need to look at that. In terms of people who are actually enforcing the law, don't we want to make sure they don't have an agenda?
That's right, Mr. Chairman.
Do you know a Lisa Page or Peter Strzok?
I've heard their names.
But do you know them personally?
No, I don't.
This is a message, August 8th, 2016, a text message. Trump's not ever going to become president, right? Right, Strzok responded. No, he's not. We'll stop him. Strzok was in charge of the Clinton email investigation. Ms. Page worked at the Department of Justice. August 15th, 2016. I want to believe the path you threw out for consideration in Andy's office, that there's no way he gets elected. But I'm afraid we can't take that risk. It's like an insurance policy in the unlikely event you die before 40. March 4th, 2016. Page to Strzok. God, Trump is a loathsome human being. October the 20th, 2016. Trump is an effing idiot. Is unable to provide a coherent answer. To all those who enforce the law, you can have any opinion of us that you like, but you're supposed to do your job without an agenda. Do you promise me, as Attorney General, if you get this job, to look in to see what happened in 2016?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
How do these statements sit with you?
I was shocked when I saw them.
Okay, please get to the bottom of it. I promise you we will protect the investigation, but we're relying upon you to clean this place up. Fisa Warrants. Are you familiar with a Fisa warrant?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. During the process of obtaining a warrant,
Order
is there a certification made by the Department of Justice to the court that the information being provided is reliable?
Yes, sir.
Are you familiar with Bruce Orr?
No, I'm not.
Bruce Orr was Associate Deputy Attorney General for Organized Crime and Drug Enforcement. His wife worked at Fusion GPS. Are you familiar with Fusion GPS?
Yes, I've read about that.
Fusion GPS, Mr. Barr, was hired by the Democratic National Committee and the Clinton campaign to do opposition research against candidate Trump and maybe other candidates. But we now know that they hired Fusion GPS, Michael Steele, who is a former British agent, to do opposition research and produce the famous dossier. Were you aware that Mr. Orr's wife worked for that organization?
I've read that.
Does that bother you if he had anything to do with the case?
Yes.
Are you aware that on numerous occasions he met with Mr. Steele while his wife worked with Fusion GPS?
I've read that.
Okay. The warrant certification against Carter Page on 4 different occasions certifies that the dossier, which was the main source of the warrant, was reliable. Would you look in to see whether or not that was an accurate statement and hold people accountable if it was not?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Mueller. You say you've known Mueller a long time. Would you say you have a close relationship with Mr. Mueller?
I would say we were good friends.
Would you say that you understand him to be a fair-minded person?
Absolutely.
Do you trust him to be fair to the president and the country as a whole?
Yes.
When his report comes to you, will you share it with us as much as possible?
Consistent with the regulations and the law, yes.
Do you believe Mr. Mueller would be involved in a witch hunt against anybody?
I don't believe Mr. Mueller would be involved in a witch hunt.
What are the circumstances that would allow a special counsel to be appointed, generally speaking?
Well, I appointed three, Mr. Chairman, a special counsel, and generally, when something comes up, an issue comes up that needs to be investigated, and there are good reasons to have it investigated by a special counsel outside the normal chain at the department, someone usually of public stature that can provide additional assurance of
Do
nonpartisan.
you believe that Attorney General Sessions had a conflict because he worked on the Trump campaign?
I'm not sure of all the facts, but I think he probably did the right thing recusing himself.
I agree. I think he did the right thing to recuse himself. Do you know Rod Rosenstein?
Yes, I do.
What's your opinion of him?
I have a very high opinion of Rod Rosenstein and his service in the department.
Why did